vehicle and asset finance from ABSA. Going the extra mile finance from ABSA. Going off the beaten track to find solutions.
For the first time, the ABSA Off-Road Championship Series featured the latest technological sophistication with live in-car tracking. The GPS system backed by Motorrad Insurance Administrators allows organisers to monitor competitors to ensure safety.
Motorrad made a conscious decision 2 years ago to get involved in motorsport, but it was important over those first years to build the Motorrad racing brand, which was extremely important for us moving forward. And I think without being or sounding arrogant, I think we've done that. We've had a fantastic 2 seasons. I think everybody now knows those results, and it's time, you know, the company, it's time for us to bring the Motorrad racing brand and Motorrad Insurance Administrators brand close together. I think it's time for people to understand what we do as a company. I think we've given a lot back to the sport, and it's now time for us to do something for the company. So the tracking system, being able to get involved in that, is the perfect vehicle for us to do that. It's so close to our own business. We understand what it's going to do for motor racing in terms of its safety. It really is important for us to get involved at that level. And you know, Motorrad's business is peace of mind motoring, and we're just taking that to the track. So it's really an ideal opportunity for us, and we looked long and hard at it, and we're really excited about being involved with motor racing on the tracking side.
But it's not just the safety features that impresses. The system will also allow spectators an up-to-the-minute update on race info.
I think even something greater that many people don't understand, it's not just about the safety and about tracking the people while they're racing, but to bring racing closer to the man in the street. I think it's important that people, we want to bring people closer. We're getting involved in the sport, and this technology is going to allow people to follow the race from the comfort of their sofas at home. They can log on to the net, they can do it through their mobile phones, through their PDAs. It's just something that's lifting the sport in our country to such a fantastic level, even further than what's available in some places overseas. So once again, it's just a fantastic development.
And the off-road series has also been a fantastic development for Darling in the Western Cape. Situated approximately 80 kilometers up the N7 from Cape Town on the west coast, this haven, made famous by comedian Pieter Dirk Eise and his alter ego Evita Besaidnout, hosted the circus for the 4th year running, and the little town and its surrounds has never quite been the same since. For 2 days, the off-road carnival pitches its tents, and the roar of mighty engines can be heard from far and wide. One man who loves the town is the defending champion and 4-time national champ, Nissan's Hannes Grobler, who is raring to go.
Yeah, we're happy to be here this morning. We had a good prologue yesterday. We at the moment third overall with the 2 special vehicles ahead of us. We're one of the first SPs. Duncan is about 4 seconds behind us, and all the other SPs are very, very close. So I think today it's going to be a big dice. I see the wind is blowing, luckily for some of the guys. So I don't think we'll have too big a problem with the dust. If we can get to the front, we'll lead and we'll show the guys the way. And we're going to try and win today.
A positive outlook from a very positive man. In the opposition Japanese manufacturers camp, Toyota, the pre-season testing has shown what the cars can do. Now the drivers had to go out and do it.
Yeah, we've been very successful in a lot of our testing, and it's made a big difference in terms of where we're going with the vehicle. And yesterday was another good reflection on qualifying, so that we've got a little bit more pace, and hopefully we won't be on the back foot. You know, we'll be right behind the guys chasing, putting pressure, and I think it's going to make a big difference in the race strategy of the race as well.
For Yuri Duplessis in the BB Auto Nissan, there were prayers that the wind would blow all the notorious dust away. Quickly.
Dit is baie lekker. Die weer is baie nice. Ons hoop die wind aanwaai vandag. Ek dink die stof gaan 'n groot probleem is. Die ander probleem wat ons voorsien is die seeding probleem van gister. Ek dink ons gaan 'n hengse klomp ouens op een slag wees. Ek praat van tot 50 ouens in 4 minute wat gaan wegtrek agter mekaar. So ons is almal bo op mekaar, en ek dink dit gaan 'n taai dag wees. Gaan 'n moeilike dag wees.
Jannie Visser was just looking for points.
Ja, ons het gister mooi gery. Ons het net die ding probeer heel hou, en ek dink dis die antwoord van vandag. Ons wil maar net punte kry, en Toyota help met die vervaardigerskampioenskap wat ons hom weer kan wen soos verlede jaar.
For Motorrad, the dust could be a factor. That was the gospel according to Evan.
We're second on the road, 20 seconds behind Gary.
So, yeah, long race still to go. We're going to just push hard in the morning, keep the pressure on. Traditionally, we've always made it to the front races. So, yeah, we're not too worried. It's going to be very dry and dusty, so that could be a problem. Yet the wind has come up already, so it could work in our favour. Yeah, just another race for the Motorrad racing team. You know, we were very successful last year. We won a couple of time trials and we started second and third on a couple of them. But majority of the time we worked our way through to the front, so we're not going to change the formula. We managed to win the championship with a 1-2-3 last year, and this is where it all starts at the first race. So it's about using the team and the infrastructure and the backing that we've got. I've said it before, there's going to be the quick and the clever, so hopefully we're there at the end of the day with the Motorrad colours flying high.
Sounds like there could be a movie title there. Still, our movie started with Hannes Grobler and Francois Jordan in the Nissan Navara SP coasting away from the start line, following the Atlas Copco of Gary Bertelt and Harry Costain, who had a 52-second gap ahead of them, just enough to let the dust settle behind the big porter. Hutchison and Bergman, the 2005 champions in Class B, are aggressive, but mix it well with cunning and all-out speed. The diminutive team manager for the Motorrad squad, Evan, is a cagey driver who gets the best out of the car and himself. Grobler and Jordan were slowly catching up, but aware of the dust problem, they were doing just enough to keep the billowing clouds of dirt at bay. The route featured several long straights and then some truly twisty parts which tested man and machine. 3 laps of about 130 k's each, and Grobler opened up the taps early on the straights. Grobler's stablemate Duncan Foss and Ralph Pitchford in the second proudly South African Nissan Navara 4-litre had drifted off the pace slightly after starting only seconds behind the burly Grobler, probably to avoid the dust, while Cronje and Birkin in the Toyota Hilux were steady as she goes early on. With a darling bogey around his neck, Alfie Cox and co-Henny ter Steege were also trying to conserve their bat, but the Motorrad pair also knew that they had to keep it moving fast enough to still be competitive. While father and son Ryan and Nick Harper were making their big Atlas Copco bats sing along on the straights. They were obviously enjoying the much bigger 6-litre motor as compared to last year's charge. Well into the first loop, and Naeem Mosaji and Rehan Badhania and the TTR Racing Jimco seemed to have things running nicely. They were 5th in Class A. Just behind them, clocking very competitive intermediate times, it was Shamir Varayawa and his nav Siegfried Rousseau in the Total Motorsport Porter. They logged a 1 hour 25-minute timing for Loop 1, just 2 minutes off the fastest time. Looking slightly worse for wear, it was Clint Gibson and Mike Brown's absolute bat, with the front right wheel limping ever so slightly due to a broken top arm on the suspension. Bevan Bertelt and Robin Houghton in the second Castrol Toyota were 12th overall and 5th in the SP class, but Roerich and Schultheimer were all over them and in their dust. The defending SP champs were itching to go by, with teammate Brandon Harkis and his co-driver Jean Moore in the Ford Racing Ranger driving with control. While the Cries, who made such a fine debut here last year, were back in the groove in the Keymax bat, leading Class B well into the first loop. The father and son combination were letting it all hang out. And so were the locals, who were vociferous in their support and enjoyed the spectacle as the cars sped by. Robert Walk and son Garrett, who was celebrating a birthday, swapped the driving duties in their single-seater back, and father Rob was acquitting himself well. He was 9th in class. Meanwhile, Gibson and Brown were limping along, hoping to get to the designated service point to repair that irksome suspension arm. The dust was certainly not settling though, and with the cars as close as what they were, it was a veritable dust bowl out there. Corbett and Balzer were 18th overall and had to eat a lot of it. For the Rokon brothers, White, the only thing that would be after this lot would be their surname. The dust was getting in everywhere. For Norway's Ivar Tollefsen and the Nissan Navara, this took some getting used to, but he was getting the hang of it. While Glenn Gibson and Mark Whitehurst in their absolute ace-co Nissan were 30th overall, going well and leading Class S, but the heat was causing them trouble.
Problems? Yeah, we've got a bit of an overheating problem. Let's have a look and see.
A little bit of panic in the camp, we sense. And that let Nick Gosler and Richard Carolyn slip into the lead in Class S in the Kopenhagen Hotel Raceco with its big Porsche 3.8-litre engine. And that cake mixer sound belonged to the engine of Gibson and Whitehurst as their overheating troubles became more serious and as the rest of the field scrambled by. The Western Cape scenery is beautiful, but not when you're stuck with a car that's given up the ghost. Henry Zermatten's Ryobi Nissan, in contrast, sounded ready to take more punishment. But the dust was becoming overbearing, as it always does here. The specials are particularly affected as they have no windscreens, and the dust goes everywhere. Just ask Gil Null and Sandra Labuskaghni, who was 7th in Class B. The Raysonics boys, Kutsia Labuskaghni and Johan Gerber, were 3rd in Class D in their Nissan Hardbody, just a few minutes down on Zermatten. With Class E champions and leaders Jannie Visser and Joks Leroux in the Castrol Toyota enjoying a solid lead halfway through Loop 1. Thomas Rundle and Brian Roberts in the Baden Tyre Services Nissan were cautious on their first lap in their new car. Back after this.